You know, the idea for Interfaith Sanctuary came about in November of 2005 when the average temperature that month struggled to get into the upper 30s. It was cold outside and people wanted to do something about the homeless population of Boise being out in it. So by December of 2006, a month later, they were in a temporary location on West Jefferson Street. And by 2007, Interfaith incorporated as a nonprofit and then made its moves to move into its current location on River Street. But as the city of Boise has grown in those years, so has the need for emergency assistance when it comes to its residents experiencing homelessness. Late 2020, say early 2021, they set their sights on the vacant and former Salvation Army building and the warehouse on State Street, a new location with more room. At 42,500 square feet, it would triple Interfaith Sanctuary's size and double their ability to serve the community. So they bought that building in April of 2021. Then the neighbors around the new building took notice and tried to stop it, fearing for increased crime and decreased property values. After nearly a year and a half and hours upon hours of public meetings and workshops, Boise City Council overturned the city's planning and zoning decision and granted Interfaith the go-ahead to make State Street their new shelter. Then the Veterans Park Neighborhood Association appealed that decision several times, sending that application back to planning and zoning, where the plan was ultimately approved last May, but with several conditions. The Neighborhood Association even filed a lawsuit over the approval of the conditional use permit in July of 2022, which is still being considered by a court. Their final challenge with the city wasn't successful, and Boise City Council upheld the permit back in February of this year. The unsettled lawsuit, well, that didn't stop Interfaith from holding a ceremonial groundbreaking at their new site just last month. But something else has stepped in their way: money. Since Interfaith embarked on this crusade nearly 3 years ago, inflation has hit the construction industry hard. And considering the renovations and upgrades needed at the old Salvation Army building, it's leaving Interfaith millions of dollars shy of where they need to be. So the ground may be broken, but so it seems is their financial plan. Joe Paris explains.
After years of planning, work, and consideration, the new Interfaith Sanctuary site on State Street is ready for recreation.
We've made it all the way through the appeal processes. We have a demo application that's active, so demo is beginning.
Jody Peterson-Steigers is executive director of Interfaith Sanctuary. She's led in that role since 2015.
If you look back to the inception of this project, you guys have gone through a lot in the last few years.
Yeah, it's changed a lot, you know. From the reason why for Interfaith Sanctuary to who this project is now being built for, it's gone through a lot of different transformations.
What's the feeling like now that you've gone through all the processes, the appeals, the committees, the votes, everything?
Forward motion is so good. It feels really good to be like, you know, moving to like picking out the wood mills and picking out, like, actually really starting to design a special new place where we serve our homeless in a much more dignified and safe way. So it's what we've wanted to do. It's why we've fought so hard, because we know it's essential.
Still, there is a fundraising goal to get this blueprint into a reality.
It's now at $14.5 million. The project goal at the beginning was $2.5 million, and then we saw it slightly increase to about $5 million, and then when some of the newer conditions got put on, we saw some adjustments go up to about $8 million.
Sure, something like inflation has impacted construction costs, but conditions the city of Boise that have also been put on the project are also impacting the final cost. Just one example, a specialized fence between the building and backdoor neighbors. A different fence was proposed in the original idea.
The cost of that is going to be between $280,000 and $330,000. The original fence would have been about $100,000.
A redesign of the building in recent months also significantly added to the costs. They have about $9 million raised, leaving about $5 million more left in the funding goal. It's very clear now that the final idea is much different than the original concept years ago. Still, the same small team at Interfaith is pushing through.
So this was going to be so much better anyways, and now it's like, wow, this is a lot.
And it's great to have, but a lot does cost more.
It costs more, yeah. I often think that people might imagine that Interfaith Sanctuary is like this big machine and that we have like an office full of fundraisers, and quite honestly, there's two people in our admin office. There's my director of administration and there's me.
In terms of the project getting going, construction and work can begin on the project with at least 30% of funding required in a construction account, which Interfaith clearly has. The goal, though, is to raise more as the campaign goes on. Still, there is a lot of work to do, and Peterson Steiger says she and the team are more than happy to take it on.
These specific conditions and what's being asked, if this is the shelter that can be approved, this is the shelter we will build, but it is expensive.
So fundraising will be a key for the Interfaith Sanctuary, and there is currently actually a generous offer from a donor to match donations up to $1 million. Progress on that campaign is at about $500,000. So they're still looking to raise another $500,000. In the end, though, the match would make it a $2 million donation. Campaign is linked on their website. We'll have a link to that in this story. But Brian, the whole situation here has been really interesting to follow, and we've really gone step by step here on the 208. Just the building and the complex that's going to end up being built, it's just not what the original idea is. And as you heard Jody talk about, much bigger, has a lot more things involved with it.
Considering the length of time it's taken, I mean, this is not like lawyer fees and court costs. This is strict, and it's not inflation because it's only jumped up 5%, but that's a lot that they put on this that they now have to create on their own. $2.5 million to $14.5 million. That's a huge jump.
But Interfaith says, look, if this is what it takes to get it done and this is what the community needs, that's what they're going to do.
All right, still a long way from that. All right, thank you very much, Joe.